Good morning, chat. How are you doing? How was your Monday? What did you break? All right, hold on. Wait for Ordain. Wait for Ordain. Oh my God, is Ordain dead? There it is. Oh, Beat did it. Who are you?
Mother of all omelets here, Jack. Cast bread over every egg.
What? It was so weird. I lowered my volume and the music did not get quieter in my ears. Giggle McShitter. That is an amazing name. Pee Pee Poo Poo Man. Yeah, you know what? The Giggle McShitter does in fact sound like they would be a Pee Pee Poo Poo Man. That's fair. Carry on. Carry on. Do as you must. But also thank you for the follow. I just saw that. I'm playing Pokemon. You're still playing the new one, right? You're still playing ZA? I have a few on keyboard, but half of them are unused, either escape or scroll lock. Oh. Huh. Anyway, yes. Thank you, Ordain, for the 185 stream streak. Jesus. Bucky, thank you for the 25 stream streak. Welcome in, guys. How was your weekend? Did you have a good time? What trouble did you get into? Did you burn anything down? Be honest with me. None of y'all got into trouble, right? Right? Hello, no trouble? Wheel of Punishment already, Lucian. Lucian! All right, spin, spin, spin. Tell us the sin, we will win. Ooh. Uh-oh. Oh, I'd hate to tell you, buddy. I'd hate to tell you. I'd hate to tell you. Any last words? Ordain punches, I spin. All right, what's your last words, Lucian? Damn, it's a good Monday. First things first, a minor amount of murder. Down up here, Amsiric River soaks everything. Amsiric River. VTMV all weekend met Velvet. She's great. I'd do anything for her. Listen, it's fine. Just as long as she doesn't constantly talk in the fucking weird as shit ASMR voice. I can't stand that voice in my ear. Bye. That's it. That's it, Lucian. Oh, God damn it, Lucian. You will be remembered. You will be remembered. Chef Clue. Chef Clue. Oh, Chef's Club. You just didn't put the B. Nah, we already hit the timeout self for Lucian. Poor guy. Poor guy. Oh, my chair. I want my chair. So, chat, what was going on this weekend? I'm trying to remember if I caught anything. Oh! Chat, have any of y'all seen the Minnesota memes that have been going around this, past weekend and some change? I need to know. I need to know if anybody else has been seeing the fucking Minnesota memes. The Somali Minnesota memes. The Minnesomalia, if you will. What? No? Okay, so there's a meme going around right now because apparently I think one of the things Fox News focused on or something over the past week and a half is that they're basically being racist to Somalis. They're saying some shit that Somalis are invading, all this other stuff, blah, blah, blah. And what people are doing, and this doesn't just happen to be Somalian people that live in Minnesota, it's a bunch of people taking the piss and using all of the exact same arguments that Israel does. So they do shit that's Minnesota was promised to Somalis 3,000 years ago. And people have generated AI videos of what basically looks like colonial era Americans, but they're of course, Somali men. And they're quote unquote discovering Minnesota. It's so good. It is so fucking good. I have seen so many people committed to the bit. It is fantastic. If you haven't seen it, I recommend just going on probably any short form content website and just putting in probably the hashtag Minnesota would get you there, or Minnesomalia. They even made a fake pack, a pack, except I think it's SoPack, something like that. SawPack. It's so good. It's so good. Promised to Somalians 3,000 years ago. Inshallah, correct. You can't argue against that. It was promised to them in the Bible. It's right there in Genesis. It's such a good meme. It's such a good meme. I don't care what anybody says. I think there are some people though that may actually, yeah, there's people that are stupid enough to think it's serious. I've seen some of the comments, but it is, uh, you wonder how some people kind of live with the cognitive dissonance between this and that. But that's one of the memes of my weekend. But I can't think of what else was going on this weekend. I do know about, oh, what's her name? Samantha, what is it, Kelnecki or whatever? The Oklahoma bitch who failed an exam and made it everybody else's problem. I think what's also very funny now is people are suing the University of Oklahoma now for to get their degrees. For their degrees, basically. Because now they have essentially made their degrees worthless. Oklahoma University degrees are effectively worthless. Oh, good Lord. Oh. I've been summoned. Hi, Melday. How are you doing? Oh, I didn't see that. That's wild. Yeah, so apparently, I guess they like passed her or something, and then the Oklahoma State government apparently gave her an award either yesterday or today. I can't remember which it was. It was one of those. So now everybody's just kind of like, you know what? Fuck this school. You've made yourself worthless. So now people are like demanding refunds for their degrees or demanding refunds for their tuition because they have effectively made their degrees or attempted degrees fucking useless. Wait. Okay. It means nothing now. Exactly. I mean, to be fair, a diploma from Oklahoma already meant fucking nothing because if you didn't know this and you're not American, Oklahoma is 50th in the United States in education. They are dead fucking last, and it's not even close. All degrees are pretty useless if they don't guarantee jobs in the field that was studied. Yeah, that's partially true, but in this case, it basically means that if you get a degree from Oklahoma University, it means literally nothing to the point where I've seen some like HR quote unquote influencers, basically people who are in HR at major companies that usually talk about what HR is, have already said that their companies have decided to bar every single person that applies with an Oklahoma University, because Oklahoma University and Oklahoma State University are different colleges. Okay. Oklahoma somehow becomes 54th in education. And listen, that would probably be if you started comparing the territories. Over Deep South red states? Oklahoma is the Deep South red state. In case you don't understand how bad Oklahoma is, that's the area that we decided, I say we, the American government decided was the quote unquote worst, and I mean in heavy air quotes, best place to send all the Native Americans that they would rather just not deal with. And do you want to know why they wanted to claim Oklahoma back as a state? Do you want to know why? They gave all of Oklahoma became the Indian territories for the longest time. And then the United States wanted it back only and only upon the point that they struck oil. They found oil in Oklahoma. And the government could not stand letting the people that they exiled to an extremely undesirable area have that oil. Could I possibly use a sticker to make a sticker or a emote to use a sticker? Absolutely. Go ahead, Beef. Go ahead. What emote do you want? I probably have a slightly bigger version if you need it than trying to like copy and paste it, and I can send it to you. I would probably make like car stickers and stuff because apparently that's popular with some people. But I don't know of any place right now that would be willing to partner with me that makes like car grade stickers. Because you can't just use normal stickers on that. It's always about oil. It almost always is. We drill for oil when we would have just wrung out Trump's toupee. No, this was, what year did Oklahoma become a state? When did 1907? Christ. Also, chat, fun fact. No, well, not so fun fact. Who remembers what year Pearl Harbor happened? Who remembers what year Pearl Harbor happened? Roughly. Doesn't have to be exact. 1943? Yeah. I'm pretty sure you're right on the 43. Nope, you're right. 41. December 7th, 41. Why did I think it was 43? Anyway. Yeah, December 7th, 1941. Do you know what year Hawaii became a state? Do you know what year Hawaii became a state? 1953. 1953. It didn't become a state. It was a territory. It was a territory the U.S. occupied to leave its Pacific Fleet there. It wasn't even a state when it was attacked. Go me. Yep, 53. I mean, we've always been occupying Hawaii since the fucking white man made it there. They basically, plus the white man in Hawaii basically showed up and was just like, yeah, we own this place now. Your kingdom is fucked. Anyway, we're gonna start kidnapping your royalty and shit. That's this damn shame because we own this island now. And we're the ones with guns. Oh, it's not even before the Big Net Treaty. They basically just showed up there and were like, yeah, we own this island now. Might makes right. That's most colonizations, correct. And now that most people are catching up, like most countries are catching up to one degree or another, there's a lot of fighting back, and superpowered countries are not exactly happy about it, but they can get fucked. We bought it under duress and house arrest, but we bought it. They were more like we owned it before even forcing them into a treaty. It basically boiled down to like, yeah, we're pretty sure nobody lives here as we drifted past on boats. And then we're just like, how about we just buy it? Anyway, here we are. We own it now. A bunch of white dudes in suits. Lots of guns, our guns versus your guns. Are you a betting man? Hey, listen, I argue sometimes guerrilla warfare is part of the great equalizer strategy. Those guns aren't very useful if you don't know where to point them. Wait, what the fuck? Okay, so who knew that Netflix was going to try to buy Warner Brothers? Did anybody do this? Did anybody else know this? Netflix was going to buy Warner Brothers, effectively creating a significant monopoly on entertainment. But apparently, as of earlier this morning, Paramount is apparently launching a hostile takeover of Warner Brothers to prevent Netflix from buying it.
Come on and step into the macabre halls of the Dark Carnival.
Such an egoist of 40 years of study hasn't figured out how to deal with local insurgencies. Get fucked. ARPA, goddamn right, Anna. Also, welcome in, Pitfin. How was your stream? Did you have a good time? What trouble did you get into? What shenanigans were you up to? Oh, you were just chatting. What were you chatting about? I don't use either of those services. Yeah. Go Paramount. The thing is, too, is apparently what I'm guessing is this is due to the fact that earlier today, or apparently late last night, the government administration said they are unlikely to let the purchase of Warner Brothers by Netflix to go through. So what I'm guessing now is Paramount is trying to swoop in and just forcibly acquire the company. The thing too is if the deal for Netflix falls through for Warner Brothers, Netflix still has to pay them the insurance amount, which is $5 billion. Is this Metallica? Somebody shoot Lucian. Is this even allowed? Good fucking question. Yes. Until the government breaks it up. If the government decides that they want to break monopolies. Sometimes, a lot of times they just kind of ignore it because under technicalities. Okay. Laws only matter if someone will enforce them? Correct. For the corporate wars to start and I have to fight for the state of Amazon Prime? You will catch me dead before I do anything to support Amazon Prime. How about no? Can I at least get a glowy metal arm, please? God, I fucking wish. No. It's a joke from high school. There's the kid who called out and said, "This is Metallica during the song, would never let him live it down and keeping it going a decade later." I could have swore that was a meme at some point. Oh no, I'm thinking of is this Thunderstruck meme? Where like everybody just calls anything that's kind of heavy-ish rock. I'm just like, is this Thunderstruck? Can you play Thunderstruck? Disney and Nintendo will eventually own everything. Ugh. I don't, doesn't Disney have a parent company? I forget. Okay. No, it doesn't. Why did I think it did? Although it does have significant corporate shareholders. Gross. Yeah, the Walt Disney Company is the parent company. That's the deal. Okay. How do you start a monopoly? Do we want to start buying out all local carnivals? That'd be a lot of logistics. Also, there's not really, unfortunately, local carnivals aren't really a thing. I can't think of a place. Wait, is this this is the streamer awards? Do I add Aura Farm to my stream? Anna, that is comedy fucking gold, ma'am. That is, hold on. I need my book. Where's my book? Thing too is I couldn't bring myself to watch the streamer awards, mainly because I don't really give a shit. Because it's just a bunch of the most pompous, unfunny, narcissistic people all fucking each other in the butt for 3 hours. Granted, you want to know something I am happy about, chat? Something I am very happy about, in a weird sort of way. Peanut. I'm happy that Peanut won VTuber of the Year. I'm happy the Burnt Peanut won VTuber of the Year. Good for him. Good for him. Hi, Anoop. How are you doing? Called him out on not being funny. Apparently, and I refuse to go watch it to figure out if this is true. So I heard somebody say that apparently some of the jokes were a little racially charged, if you will. Hmm. 3-hour gherkin section, pretty much. Who Peanut? So he's a P-tuber, if you will. He's basically just a peanut. He does the like amazing, or what is it? Something annoying orange. He does the annoying orange thing where he's like a 3D peanut and his mouth and eyes are slapped on it. It's very cute. He's very funny. I've enjoyed seeing like a lot of his shorts and stuff. His community is very big. The way I kind of picture him is he's like this year's queso. He like really kind of exploded this year. Voted for because he was being, oh, he was being trolled. That's correct. He doesn't call himself a VTuber, but not calling yourself a VTuber does not make you a non-virtual creator. VTubers aren't just anime girls flapping their titties around. Yeah, his community was basically trolling him, and his community is much larger. The thing, too, is anytime you get I'm going to call them normie streamers or just a cam screamer or anybody that appeals to a general audience on Twitch will beat a VTuber 99% of the time. The only person that could possibly stand above a normal streamer is possibly Iron Mouse. Possibly. I mean, there's a VTuber, a virtual tuber, and a VTuber in Asterix. Those are all the same. VTuber is just virtual tuber. If you are not using a model or not using a camera on yourself and you are instead using a PNG, a 3D model of some kind, a goofy little cam overlay like the peanut or the potato guy, those are VTubers. That's just the easiest way to VTuber. Listen, okay, so even PTuber itself is a joke on being a VTuber. I'm not a virtual tuber. I'm a peanut. Yeah, that's fine. That's the gimmick. But you're still technically under strong technicalities, a VTuber. But apparently people have been sending Iron Mouse death threats. Chat, do you want to guess why they're sending Iron Mouse death threats? Do you want to guess? Actually, get the actual emotes out. Yeah, she said apparently on a stream with Connor that people were sending her death threats. Yes, for supporting him. For saying Peanut definitely earned it. Now, as far as racially charged humor, I need context because racial humor isn't inherent hate. That's the thing, too. The thing was, though, some of the bits and jokes that I've heard were thrown around were thrown at just like random other streamers that were in the audience that like none of the streamers were ready for. So, I mean, if you're just sitting there chilling or something and somebody makes a reference of something that's potentially racially stereotypical or something, and then the cameraman jumps in your face and you're like, what the do I do? Why did you say that? Why am I the butt of the joke? I mean, apparently Hassan had a similar reaction when she made a joke directed to him. The camera jumped to him. And they're on the same podcast together all the time. Punching down and pointing out the absurdity of racism and really, really, really thin. Yeah. Why are you getting double audio? I don't know. Are you getting double audio of a specific thing? But yeah, it's like, I could never hate Iron Mouse. God damn it. I just scrolled down on Twitter and the first thing I see is somebody posting the picture again of the dude opening his drawer. And there just being a t-shirt inside that just says, the most racist man alive. Twice the merit, you're complaining? Is it doubled up for everyone? In stereo? Oh, good Lord. We hating on VTubers again? No. Not really. More like the audience of VTubers sometimes. Because it's a little fucked up. Okay, so you probably have like two things open or your headphones are like slightly out of sync. My audio is flawless. I don't know about you. Listen, it happens, okay? It happens. But... okay. Is the one who deserves the love that she gets because she does good by a lot of people, for a lot of people? Yeah. I mean, it's the thing is Iron Mouse is constantly doing new stuff. As opposed to, and I hate to say this, what feels like a lot of larger VTubers, and I say this all the time, phone it in for their streams. Their streams are just hangout sessions. Which I guess certain ones, I guess, is their content. But even then, it feels like heavily diminished. My ears are about the only thing running at 100% operation. Mayhaps? Wait, what is this? Oh, I see. Oh, darn it. I forgot the other thing I was going to talk about. What was another thing that happened over this weekend? Was it just the award thing? Get to hang out because the chat is moving at ludicrous speed. It's also not just that. I'm also talking about like their collabs. The collabs that they do. Like, it'll be 4 VTubers playing like Peak or something, and it's just them yelling at each other for 4.5 hours. And nothing else. I made breakfast for dinner on Saturday. Does that count as news? Okay, but what kind of breakfast? What kind of breakfast? I found the super cringe Alton Brown video. Which one? No jokes, no bits, just scrim. The thing is, usually there's like jokes and stuff, but it really does just come down to a few friends hanging out, and sometimes something funny happens. Granted, it's Peak. The thing that's funny that happens is somebody fell off a cliff, and you just get to hear them scream the whole way down. That's it. That's it. Dropping bits. Wait, the Doctor Who one on Nerdist? Oh god, I don't think I want to watch that. Oh, I don't think I want to watch that. Okay, hold on a second. Hold on a second. Hold on, let me get the thing for beef. Where is this thingamdoohickey? There it is. Boots. Boot. Get the Mufasa treatment? Long live the king? Oh yeah, that's the thing is though, Ford, is that's you doing it with somebody you know directly, that you interact with, and your family. I was gonna say, that's literally your brother. That's not the same as telling essentially insulting jokes to people with some of the biggest egos on the planet. It also doesn't help when the jokes themselves aren't exceptionally funny. Thank you for the 100 bits. Wait, did that also that trigger a combo too? Wait, I'm confused. What else do combos do? On top of spaghetti, all covered with cheese. I lost my poor meatball when somebody sneezed. Oh my god. Really, Imp? Really? Thank you for the 100 bits. Oh my goodness. Hold on, let me catch up on chat. I think I missed a few things. I know I missed a few things. Perchance. Where you don't even get to hang out because the chat is... Okay, I did react. No, I didn't miss too much. Who knows? Better than when you spend the weekend resting and maybe fixing bugs. Bugs. Hold on a quick second, chat. I just realized you just reminded me I never cleaned up the social media shenanigans from over the weekend. The thing too is, did Twitch change how long VODs last, chat? I noticed that Yesterday. Did they change it where you no longer save VODs for 2 months? It only saves it for a fucking week unless you get partner? Or wait, was it because I had Turbo? Oh god, hold on. Hold on. Was it Turbo? Oh my god, I'm getting Turbo again. Turbo was the one that was allowing me to have 2 months of fucking VOD space. I did not realize that. That's so fucking annoying. That's why we kept losing the VODs so fucking quick. Because I got rid of Turbo. God damn it. Sometimes they just last. Huh? Which huh? Which huh? This is important. This is very important. What the Okay, that's a little terrifying. Somebody did an animation, a live 2D animation for Library of Runa. That's the game. And it does not look natural, and it's kind of scary. Kinda. Major entertainment vectors are just becoming fucking cable again. Like the streaming services, is that what you mean? Where they basically advertise themselves for years as alternative to cable, and now they're basically just advertising the shit out of you to the point where it's the same as cable. I fucking hate it. It's awful in every single way. I mean, 2 months could have days, no matter. All right. All right. Worst number go up. Thank you for the 3 stream streak. How are you doing? I've been a fan of piracy since the days of baby internet. Capitalism always demands more money. That is the way of capitalism. Line must go up. Line must go up. Gotta get that shareholder value. Which is also a funny thing when it comes to the Netflix, what was it? Warner Brothers acquisition or attempted buyout. Basically, the reasons they gave like 2 reasons, but their number 1 was to increase shareholder value. We picked the wrong kind of public ownership. It's not even public ownership. Yeah, there's more debt in the world than there is money in the world. We literally sat here and decided that we wanted to make the worst system imaginable and then decided that there's no alternative. I agree. The stock market was a massive... Oh my God, that is a name. Hi, connoisseur. What are you doing? What trouble are you getting into? Yo! What's up? Thing too is what's even funnier is most of the time that debt is to itself. Like the US, so much of its debt is to its own people. Like football? Wait, elaborate. What do you mean like football? Check this person's browser. Oh, hello. I swear to God, every phone call I get these days is all marked potential spam. Okay, then. Check this person's browser history. Listen, it's fine. No, you're thinking of football. Futbol. Or, well, I think in England it's football with like football. That the first one, Celador, was spelled right. It is not that way though. You Moen, last Moen? What does that mean? Also, thank you for 3 streams straight, Corvo. How are you doing? Boop attack. My goodness. My goodness. And don't search that or do what's up to you. I don't think that's a good idea. That is almost certainly not a good idea. Probably. But, I lost my streak and it's all Mawuwin's fault. How is it my fault? What did I do? What did I do? I haven't done nothing. NFL to rebrand because FIFA gave him a statue? Wait, does he want him to rebrand so soccer, whatever soccer league can take the National Football League name? Is that what it is? Is that what he wants? Yeah. I'm not surprised. I think I saw a picture of that. It was on like a big stage and stuff, right? And they like delivered it out of a book or something. Soiled it! Hi, Hectic, how are you doing? Peak medieval monarch behavior, if true. It is. It is. That did in fact happen. He wants Americans to call soccer football because stupid. I mean, it is a better sport than American football. American football is the dumbest sport I've ever seen, and I know Octopush exists. At least their scoring system makes sense.
Step inside.
Okay. Megami Yuki, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. How are you doing? What trouble are you getting into? Wait, what the fuck? Okay. Right here, right now? All sports ball is dumb. No one should be paid that much for doing so little for society. I agree. But do you know where most of that money comes from? Marketing, advertisements, sponsors. Do you know what I think shouldn't exist anymore if we decide to overthrow most fucking insane business practices? Advertising firms. I hate them to my core. Merchandising. Merchandising's one way too. Merchandising. I kicked a ball. Where's my millions? It is also kind of a lottery, sometimes genetic lottery if you're a physical freak that like ends up being really good at a certain sport. I mean, it's even Olympians, arguably some of the greatest athletes on the planet, aren't paid as much as other pro athletes. Which is still a little crazy to me. Like, there's Olympic athletes that they train, they have a day job, and then they go to the Olympics, and then they come home and go back to that day job. Yes, because Michael Phelps is a freakish fish man with a larger wingspan than an albatross. That's not literal. That's because I don't think you can have, I think the albatross's largest wingspan is 12 feet. But he has a freakish wingspan. What if we didn't have advertising firms? How would I know about the one blood testing kit that YouTube insists I buy? Are you getting the ads for the, like, what is it? The, like, blood glucose meters, too? I started getting those after I started, like, constantly telling YouTube that I thought the Like a bunch of their ads are fucking annoying. I keep getting it. It's like, I'm gonna take you through testing the greatest blood glucose meter ever. If anybody doesn't know, and you're seeing these ads now, for the past at least 2 years, a health trend that quote unquote health gurus have been trying to sell is that the best way to check your health is by having a blood glucose meter, even if you don't have diabetes, which is bullshit. I'm just lurking in court. Oh my God, I'm in court with Kono. He did it, Your Honor. He's guilty. And boner pills and aqua cremation. Okay, so aqua cremation is fine if you want to like bury it. If you want to use like a loved one as say like fertilizer or something and like plant a tree, that's what you want to do. That's fine. I've not seen ads for that, but I do know it exists. It's hydrolysis, I think is what it's called. It's glucose meters, borderline AI porn, and noble. I get so many fucking AI voiced game ads. I get, what is it? Maple Story, some pixel RPG. I've also been getting the fucking play D&D with this AI DM. I would rather shoot myself in the foot than play an AI Dungeons and Dragons game. I want to bet that the AI doesn't even remember the campaign half the time. It's basically like having to start a new campaign every time you come back to talk about it. Oh yeah, the tower defense. I'm the developer of the game, The Tower. I wanted to make a game that had infinite possibilities. Shut up! Fuck off! You made a bunch of polygons. Congrats. All these ads, no Marin rounds? They're too expensive. Running those kind of ads are stupid expensive. Imagine, if you will, if you make a game with infinite possibilities. Except, like, it's not. It's a tower defense that you can theoretically... Theoretically, like, just get all of the options. Hey, the developer of the game, The Tower? Yes. Skill issue. I mean, yeah, kind of. Do whatever you want whatsoever. Any kind of sexual content on this YouTube, though? No, siree. Sure. Oh, God. I don't get the video of it, but under the video, if I'm on, like, mobile, I get the ad that's like, want to hang out with your favorite characters? And it's like, this is gonna bother me. It's, if I remember correctly, the picture is Makima on the right and fucking Gwen Tennyson from Ben 10 on the left. That is a red fucking flag. What is up with people's obsession with Gwen Tennyson? And I don't mean the teenage one from the later series, the like high school and older, the one in college that wears like the sweater vest and stuff. It's 10-year-old Gwen Tennyson. Thinks I hate it? Yeah. And I can't get rid of it. I've tried hitting like the buttons at the top that usually be like, this is repetitive or this is boring or I don't like this or anything like that. And when I click it, it just takes me to the website and does not let me try to cancel that ad. Blame Zone for that? I don't think you could blame Zone exclusively. It's, God. Listen, I watched Ben 10, the original series, growing up. And I hated Gwen. I didn't find Gwen an enjoyable character until the later series. Until the like after high school one. If it's still the same, it's kind of pay to avoid TOS since ads are another department of Google, but they still host the videos for those ads on YouTube. Oh, Alien Force. That's what it was called. Thank you. I could not remember the name of that series. Wizlock, thank you for the 50 stream streak. How are you doing? Thirst after Gwen, but like thirst after the 18 plus version? Yeah. Or, you know, the episode where she like turns into the energy alien form and gets really big and scares the shit out of that clown dude. My crusade has led me back to the correct space. So welcome in, cup-sized crusader. How are you doing? I mean, we do have a professional here on cup sizes, but he's currently lurking. And at court. A big laser lady can get it? Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I'll take Letits now for 500. I don't know why I saw the Getit. Can Getit. Revenge on clowns. Time traveled and it fucked everything up. That's usually the case. There is also the one episode of the Ben 10 original series where I forget if it's like, I can't remember how it happens, but it's basically a point where Gwen gets the Omnitrix instead. And honestly, I hate that episode. I did not like that episode. What's this about giant energy lighting? Well, darn, no weighing on the size. Hey, listen, if you want to, that's on your business. Here, we can just put the jacket off. I'll take anal bum cover for 500, Trebek. Good lord. Good lord. Boosting CCV. Listen, it's fine. It's fine. Things happen. As much as I would like to beg friends for help to get partner, it feels uncouth. And I don't like the idea. It feels too desperate. I'm still trying to convince myself, and I'm not even joking. I saw a picture of somebody that I know has been partner pushing for weeks, and they have had the like question mark symbol for like, it's basically like the edited partner version, but it's a question mark that people always use after they've like applied but are waiting to see if they get an answer. Just because 3 is a goalie doesn't mean Torbeck just because there's a goalie doesn't mean Torbeck can't score. I'll take the rapist for 100, Alex. Oh my god, no. No. Baird is the last moral in this circle. Which is weird considering I'm supposed to be a murder machine carnival ringleader. The morals are heavy in this one. Love your humor and model. Thank you, Beef. I do run across it on occasion. If I'm scrolling TikTok, I will literally come across myself and it's so weird. It's so weird to see it and be like, huh. I should probably start commenting on those. Gotta feed my own videos to the algorithm. When you say murder machine, are you a robot? No. American Go moral compass. It's the autistic sense of justice, don't you know? American Go algorithm. I'm sitting here and I scroll. Sometimes I look at it, I'm like, oh, that's me. And then I listen to like half the video and then I'm like, well, I know what's gonna happen here. So then I just scroll again. Rather than being like, huh, maybe I should comment at least. Gannon, you know the rules. Tis the my lord. Have a sense of justice. It's not that having a sense of justice, it's usually having a overtly strong sense of justice. It's like when you're young, you're taught like the right things, the things you should do and how things should function. Murderers should be punished. People who hurt other people should be punished. And then like you grow up and you see the world where like some dude gets off on like an insanity plea and then just gets to quote unquote walk free or stuff like that. And you're just like, that was not how I was told that was supposed to work. That person needs to be punished. The Great Malenko? What is that? The Great Malenko. Insane Clown Posse. I have no idea what this song is. I know exactly 0 Insane Posse songs. Trump becomes president while your best friend who literally gave the shirt off his back ended up homeless and died of dysentery. Yeah. That's probably a half decent comparison. Jeez, it's already been an hour? What the fuck? I feel like we haven't done anything. I think we set the morals too high on this one. Can't even push content. It's fine. It's fine. I'm going to do a side project. I mentioned the side project before. My plan for that one is to throw morals out the window and see what happens. ICB's tribute to pro wrestling Dean Malinky's dad. Wait, is that what that song is? Huh. Interesting. Hyper-strong sense of justice, often unbendable, does not nearly make you a more moral person. However, true, it may not. Like, there's some people that I would say would probably be like, yeah, if a murderer did something bad, they should die. No. I'm very much against the death penalty. Kick streamer, got it? Oh my God, that's not what I meant. I would never go to Kick. Not a chance in hell. So we have the fan page to put all the American content in front of everyone. Morals be damned. Correct. Wait, ICP were pro wrestlers and ran their own promotion for all? Really? Huh. I did not know that. The only thing I know about Insane Clown Posse is, oh, what was it? Fago. That's all I know. That's all I got. Goodness. So a Batman route? You know, if I had superpowers, we'd be living in a different world. More L? What do you mean more L? I know Fago and Whoop Whoop. Punishment should exceed the crime because punishment should be a deterrent from being a dick in the first place. The thing is it depends on crimes. Many non-violent crimes, sometimes even some violent crimes, not like murder or heinous types of manslaughter and stuff like that. But some of those crimes are due to an underlying system failing. Generally, if you wanted to pick one problem that would take out like a chunk of the issue, fucking poverty, dude. Poverty and like mental health would take out a massive chunk of crime that is committed. You know, besides making money over moving anime figures across borders. Ugh. Has their own LARP called Morton's List. That is an interesting name choice. Why is it called that? What'd you take on Luigi getting off given what he did? I think you should do it again. Wait, did he get off? Is it because they fumbled like the Miranda rights, the handling of evidence and all that shit? Or are you just talking about the like terrorism charges? I know he got off the terrorism charges because the fucking federal government lawyer absolutely fumbled the fucking bag. He's innocent. He's innocent. He didn't do it. He was hanging out playing Mario Kart with me. I have no idea what you're talking about. YouTube really loves pushing those vids for some reason. It's current news. They revealed the punishments as lax as fuck. It doesn't help that again, the United States government, not government, the American prison industrial complex is not meant for rehabilitation or improvement of people's lives or genuine punishment. It's just for labor and actual just human depravity. That's it. It does. The United States had the, what is it? What is the word? Retention? No. Recidivism? There it is. I want the United States recidivism rate. 68% of released state prisoners are rearrested within 3 years. And a majority, upwards of 80 to 82%, are rearrested within 5 to 10 years. 4 in 5 inmates in the United States, in the country that has the highest percentage of prisoners, will be back in prison after having been punished for it because there's nothing that like actually helps them. Hi Hex, how are you doing? Yeah, if you're fucked getting a new job, getting back on your feet is borderline impossible. It's easier sometimes just to go back to doing crimes. All right, Chad, hold on a second. I'm gonna get y'all words. I already do have it ready to go. Boop. Don't have to go to work today? Hell yeah, Monday off, baby. Convent, felon, whichever of it. even if somebody has changed as a person, sometimes the only thing they're left with or possible to do to survive is crime. Which again also comes down to, oh my God, I'm going to say the word affordability. If anybody didn't see the news, I think it was yesterday. It was when I saw it at the gym. Our president called affordability a quote, con job. He thinks the idea of affordability is a scam, a con job, a lie, a thing to not worry about. My fucking God, dude. Oh God, what was the other thing I heard? Oh! It's fucking painful, dude. Seeing like some of the reports. So there was a report that came out recently after a economic report in China, where China came to realize that, oh, why did chat just reload? That their prices are getting too low, quote unquote, too low. Mind you, this is an American journal company releasing the report on this. So it is very heavily skewed in words, like they usually do when they talk about China. And they're saying it's a bad thing that China's prices now are so low that like the prices of goods and products in China are easily accessible. WOS doesn't like GILFs? What does that mean? GILF? Oh, wait, was that a word? We've only got 30 seconds, so we're not going to do another round. Back to the desk. And that's bad how? That's the thing is the report tried to like pitch how it was bad, and it makes no sense. They were basically just like, and this means that their economy is going to start doing worse, and their line's not going to keep going up. Okay. We have a 90% home ownership rate. You think I care? Groceries are a few dollars a month. Food is abundant, fresh, and delicious. Most products I want are easily and readily available for very reasonable prices. But the line! Fuck your line. iPad kids being forced to go without. We're gonna put me in Uppies jail? I don't think I have a PNG for Ganon, do I? I forget. Oh, I only have the... What's it called? Three years stay. Damn! Yeah, 3 years. Hi, Bree. Good Lord. Okay. 15 tons. What did you get? What? Non-distracted and entertained? Actually designed to last a long time than what people make now? Yeah. God, it's almost like they did it on fucking purpose. Rat bastards. Every single one of them. Needs a cannon, just loads our PFP into it and launches it. Fire in the hole! Okay, it would be kind of funny. Not gonna lie, it would be. What the heck? Okay. Chaotic self? Well, thank you, Bree. Am I that chaotic? I don't think I'm very chaotic. Maybe sometimes. Ayo. DBD is remaking their creator program? Ooh. Oh, gosh darn it. Okay. Bubonic maybe, but chaotic? Bubonic? What? Oh, okay. Here's the... To be accepted into the Dead by Daylight Creator Program, gold level, you have to have an average CCV of 25 for the past 90 days. Iridescent, a minimum of 10,000 followers on your primary Dead by Daylight platform, plus a minimum monthly content output of 20 plus hours. Exclusive in-game Twitch shirts. Oh no. Oh no, it's gonna be easier to bully streamers in Dead by Daylight. Well, that's iridescent, which seems to be like their highest tier, I guess. But that's interesting. Very interesting. When we had PNGs and Deskman, true. We have not played DBD in a long time. I kind of do want to do more killer in Dead by Daylight just because it's kind of fun. But the sad thing is I struggled to do Dead by Daylight for like an entire stream. What the fuck, Vapor? Don't talk about my chest like that. That's mean. Wouldn't sensor shows up with points to spend. Hi, T-Stone. Thank you for the lurk check. All right, chat. That means it's time to perk up. That means it's time to perk up. How are you doing? If you haven't spoken today, now's the time to say something. Are you burning anything down? Have you set anything on fire? Booba the Onic? Oh my god. Baron's looking for perks? Perks in the drugs or perks in Dead by Daylight perks? I really like my my flash pipe bomb. I like my flash grenades perk. It's fun. With me and the gang, it's fun. Mayhaps. Mayhaps. Do we know any Oni with C initial? The only Oni that immediately comes to mind is Day, but... yeah, I can't think of any other Onis. Is Ruby? I think Ruby's kind of an Oni. She's pink and has horns. You can give me especially after I did my last message? What? I can't believe Ordain's burning himself. Not Ordain, Ganon. Why did I do that? Why am I so used to both of you being chaotic little shits? I just got the AI Coca-Cola ad, the one with the truck one. You got the truck one? Ignore him. Ignore him. Don't look at him. Don't look at him. Shame on your butt. Yeah, I'm guessing it's the one where like the truck layout changes every fucking scene. Got their names in the hat. We'll just pick it. All right, shuffle the names. Shuffle the names. The beef, that is not true. I mix up you and Hyper on occasion. Learn your gremlins' names? It's fine. It's fine. Wait. Okay. I'm gonna avoid a Jackie again for doing the floating guns glitch. I mean, we're playing Cyberpunk tomorrow, I think. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure we're playing tomorrow. What? That's Makari emotes. Oh. Oh, there we go. Now it loaded. All right. It didn't load for a second when I clicked the emote. That's weird. Not the bottom mix-up. Bottom mix-up. Yeah. Yeah. Oh, good Lord. Wait, has anybody seen the video of the gestures to make yourself look more elegant and feminine? Who's seen that video? I need to know. I need to know. Booberpunk, shut up. Cyberpunk working on my Steam Deck and I can't wait to play it. Hell yeah, MP. Hell yeah. Goodness, sorry, my nose itches. I don't know why it does that. If I scratch my nose, my head like bobs like this. That's so weird. Because she's barren, pathetic with them all. What the fuck does that mean, Sunstar? Huh? Excuse you? What did you just call me? Sunstar? What? Once? Sunstar. I know my own emotes. I'm well aware. Okay. For now. What is this Diddy blood doing? Are those words? Hi, Ranger. Welcome in. Also, you did the B indicator? Boy. It's fine. It's fine. Hides under the table? Sure. Sure, you think that'll save you. Flashes to all times married. Didn't know her emotes? Sure. Oh, right, the eyes. I forgot about them. Which ones? Beer and bound. Bumper bit bean. Berber being put petish. Bash bang bew bump and berber being berber bit bum bubby bells put bungus. Anyway. Why are you jingling keys? Whatever I can, I'm not even the one in trouble. A gooner or an edger, ants? Neither. There's only one kind of goon in this household. Chat. What kind of goon do we accept around here? There's only one kind of goon. Jonkin' it, boss? That is not it. On it, boss. Thank you, Grins. Only one boss. Whatever you say, boss. Yes, boss. Yes, boss. You got it, boss. Understood? Get it, got it, good. I'll get the sign just in case we need it. I need my sign. There we go. It's going over chat. Don't you fucking forget it. Improper goons go back to goon school. Don't you fucking forget it. Only one kind of goon, you see? There's only one kind of goon in this house. Got a gotchamp? I'm proud of you. I'm proud of you, Ordain. Have fun. Use it to beat people up. No goons? Oh my god, the goonblin. The flat cap is, in fact, 100% necessary. Which now I forget if I was going to get a goon emote from QB, and I can't remember now. Let me check in with QB while I'm thinking about it, because otherwise I will forget. Okay. I also need to check something to see if... Wait a second. I'm just double checking which emotes. Because I'm pretty sure I paid QB a while back for a few other emotes. But okay, it was the fire hose one was one of them, but that's the only one that's gotten finished out of all of these. There's supposed to be a remade rope one. And then I think it was knife. The one that Ordain wanted. The alternative to the knife. Wake the fuck up, Chattery. We got a big top to burn. Ganon, no. Keep an eye on the Goomblin. That it must have been a big bird. Okay, I'm gonna put the sign away, chat. Don't make me get it out again. We're getting classic rope back. Classic rope? No, isn't the rope is already on Discord, but it's not quite, it doesn't quite look the way I wanted it to. Classic, oh yes, more like the classic rope sketch. Available in the VIP section, correct. That's the way I kind of wanted it to look, and then it kind of changed quite a bit over the course. Have a good night, Blood. Thank you for hanging out. Want the velvet rope to feel extra? Velvet rope. Gotta get the VIPs for chat. Yeah, if you get the VIPs from either like tier 2, tier 3 subs, subscribing on Ko-fi, or boosting the Discord server, you get VIP and you can check out previews of anything that I have coming up. Any art, any new assets, any shenanigans like that. Is there a canonical look for chat? What does chat look like? I do not have a canonical look for chat. Sadly, I do not. Ooh. Okay, either I just had a really long blink or my lights flickered. Sometimes I don't know the difference. Sometimes I don't know the difference. No, I've considered getting something like that, but I always think those are odd. Because then, like, you start having to, if you do that in this case, then I would also have to start, like, drawing every single guest in a certain way. I mean, I couldn't make it so that, like, all of y'all have, like, to each other in the lore. Like, you all look the same. If that makes sense. Wasn't it Show? No, Show's just a little mascot. He's, like, sort of a representation of y'all, but he's also kind of just a little mascot of the carnival. I mean, flashback to join the carnival redeem? Correct. I just still have a bunch of those. Let me see. Yoink, yoink. Here, stream. Join the carnival folder. I have 4. Oh, wrong side. Diablo, Sugar, Carrie, and Aeon. Cute. And got no Sunstar in there? I do have a notepad here. Hold on a second. Why do I have a notepad in here marked join the carnival? Ooh. Okay. There's Sunstar marked as Flame Eater. Dire Hound. Carrie's been made. Xavier. Squash. Oh my god, I do remember these references because I remember Squash wanted to be a possum. What kind of elf you are? Nope. You're a tiny elf. And then Construct was Flesh Shaper. Alexandria, Angel of Mercy Nurse. Oh, but then it says Alex. Oh, okay. I guess Alex made it. And I completely forgotten it and don't have it saved. Shit. I also have names here that just like aren't filled in with anything. Claude, Lorano, Jackson, Limk, Queso, Deadlines, Tosca. Huh. Weird. But yeah, it was a little naive of me to think that I would be able to keep up and do the Join the Carnival redeems at the time when I was also not making a lot of money, and character design commissions are very expensive. It was also the mix of how long some of the commissions were taking and the amount of redeems were just outweighing each other. We'll finally have enough money. Maybe. I'm hoping. You can't find the 5 big booms I buried around the big top, Marin. I'm going to tell you where I hid them. You are going to tell me? Well, thank you, Cannon. That's actually really nice of you. Thank you for... So are you putting in my DMs? What's the deal here? Big booms. Artists rise up, step on up. Come on. I don't have a lot of money. Well, right now I have very little money and I need to buy prescriptions following payday because my 3-month supply of my 2 prescriptions are running out. They literally, okay, one of them runs out on Friday. The other runs out probably next week. And then the week after, I'm going to have to get the monthly one. The monthly one is $90. And then the other 2 are $45 each for 3 months supply. So it's $180 total. Ah! And December is usually the worst month out of the year. I'm booming it. What? I've hidden them under Ordain's tent. Ordain doesn't have a tent. Hey, congrats. What do you mean? Yes, we are moving to Norway. Eventually. We actually, we looked at a house that was pretty decent. And they're gonna go look at another one this week. But we're also gonna get the other one inspected because it's a little old. I'm not gonna lie though, I do kind of like the one that they're going to look at on Thursday a little bit more. It's pretty nice. Even if it's not on the ocean and instead on a lake, I'm fine with that. Hi, Ordain. Have that Norway time zone for better streaming times? It's not even about better streaming times. It's more streaming time. Do you understand? I would be able to do like 12-hour streams again. Or just have like the super chill, long RPG sessions with y'all. True, it is. I do like old buildings, but the thing is sometimes those old buildings can have major problems. I think the thing I'm most concerned about is any sort of significant water damage, pipe damage, or electrical problems. Because if we get there and we find out that like the house can't handle our computers, we're in big trouble because we'd probably have to rewire the whole house. Marin's gonna stream so much, gonna need more mods. What do I need more mods for when I have you, Sunstar? Between you and Carrie, y'all are here all the time. Aftercare of just relaxing and looking out to the water is just enjoyable. It was like, even the pictures were gorgeous. A second American streaming from Norway that I watch. I think there's a couple other VTubers that I know that are considering moving to Norway. Just weird that it's happened twice. Sunbar and Carrie. Jesus grins. Throw a sword at me? I don't need to throw a sword. It's a spear, please and thank you. I'm gonna be here 24/7. My race ain't covering this. I'm sorry. Hiding from her so she doesn't have to make me a mod. Listen, if you don't want to be a mod, I'm not gonna give you a sword. But We're usually we're pretty clean around here. I mean, we banned somebody, was it Thursday? Promote that, Fox? No. Really good place to move to. It's better than the United States. Do you know I mean, Norway is like second or third on the like happiness index. It's one of the only countries that is like sorta competing with Finland. Yeah, the bar is low, but it clears it by miles. She's here every time Marion streams. You fucking dork. You fucking dork. All right. The bar is low, but so is the equator? Yeah. Yeah. I don't know, man. Oh, God. Hold on. Wait. Oh, no, it's Game Awards. What's today? It's the 8th. Game Awards aren't until like the 11th. Is that fucking Tomb Raider? What the shits? Ugh. Wait, you can vote for the Game Awards in Fortnite? I hate everything about that. I hate everything about that. A mod into the mod auditions, Baron has to guess which one is the real mod? What do you mean? Number one in more things than just happiness, Giga-chan? You talking about the United States? Yeah, number one in largest incarcerated percentage population. Largest, what's the word? Celebrity politician leaders. Imagine, if you will, you could vote for the Game of the Year award in Fortnite. Oh, Finland? Gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. I was gonna say, Finland's number one in a lot of things. I was gonna say, the happiness index is more made up of like a bunch of other factors. But Finland usually holds a bunch of ones in a lot of those factors that add up to it. Never responds is because it's 90% brain rot? Oh, good lord. Hello, Day House, your beef. Shut the fuck up. Grams, are you sober? I'm 89%. I mean, as opposed to 99% brain rot that is 7-Eleven. Oh, goodness. I'm sorry for sniffling in y'all's ears. Hold on. I should not be doing that because they end up in clips and then I just end up hating them. Wait. Say, I'm pretty sure the Game Awards are on in like 3 days. And I considered streaming it. I did consider streaming the what was it? The Game Awards, but they don't start until I think it's like 5 p.m., 6 p.m. my time. And I don't really want to have a stream at that time. So we may watch it in the Discord. Who knows? Never get those clips. Hey, listen, the last several clips we've posted have like my fucking trying to keep myself from laughing. So you just get the weird, like wheezy, crackly fucking sound that I make for some god awful reason. In the dark content, we only clip high quality content. Ignore those clips, you bitch. High quality content. I wish. I wish. But it looks like all the posts are basically just people being like, oh shit, Queso won Gamer of the Year. Let's go. Fuck yeah. Wait, are the horror game awards also at the same time? Shit. That's not going to be good. What the fuck is this? Aggro Crab
Well,
Games.
look at you.
Game Awards bingo card. Aliens DLC. A DLC wins Game of the Year. Snoop Dogg makes a subtle weed reference. Silk Song, Astrobot on stage, parentheses real. Arcane, parentheses gay. Legally required Crab Square. Dev drip that fucks. VTuber moment. Players get mad about winner of Player's Voice even though they voted for it. Hawk to a Girl announces gotcha game. Please tell me she's not going to be there. TLD Archer, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. How are you doing? Obvious product placement. Another Crab's treasure gets snubbed. Parentheses free. Wait, is this from last year? This is from last year. That explains why Hawk to a Girl is not here. That was before she scammed her entire fucking community. Fucking insane. I hate it. I hate it. Wild shit. Very wild shit. That explains why Snoop Dogg was involved. It's like, I don't remember Snoop Dogg being around for that. Also, I still want to know what that statue in the desert is supposed to be. I need to know, chat. The way that she's grifted her entire community after like literally just being drunk and interviewed for one statement on some dude's YouTube channel and then made a podcast career out of it, created a crypto coin and then fleeced her entire community and everybody she knew for it. I'm gonna guess the right leaning. Step 2, make crypto coins. Step 3, get hated on and lose fame. Step 4, profit. Nah, the profit came before step 3. She made like millions of dollars. She won't admit it. Like even CoffeeZilla tried to talk to her about it. And she basically just like dodged the fucking question. I don't know if anybody remembers they did like a live stream where the guy, her and the company that she worked with to make the crypto coin was trying to talk about the fact that it got like rug pulled and stuff. And she sat in silence basically the entire time. It wasn't a stream. It was a Twitter live thing. That's what it was. And she sat in silence the entire time until like half an hour later, she just pipes up and goes, all right, guys, I'm going to go to bed. I'm really tired. And she just leaves. She has shown no remorse. Granted, I didn't like her from the get-go, but then her rug pulling and then trying to dodge it, I don't care what happens to her. I don't think she deserves good things anymore. Mountain Coin RFID edition, load all your credit card info on there. Your shopping will be made 10 times cooler. Christ. Maybe? Question mark? But no, it would be... Yeah, if I did a coin thing or something, it would probably be... I'd rather it be like a decorative, like enamel coin. Is what I'm thinking. I kind of like the idea of like an enamel coin that's like really pretty and kind of a little bit colorful. Crashes all crypto coins. Thank fucking God. Forfeit possessions of the Dark Carnival. Makes the fracture oh yeah, the Fractigua worse. I will have coins all over. I gotta say though, it's still a clever title. If you think about it as a college course that's meant to essentially be a study of what was it? A study on like virality and how going viral essentially happens. Like that's what I could imagine the course as. It's a clever name. Of course, it's fucking stupid. Do I get free Malvin coin as payment for the idea? Sure. If I ever figure out some way to make them. Thing is, though, is to do something like that, it would require... Ew. It would require, like, a metal press And then I would have to apply the enamel myself unless I found a company that just does that, like custom orders. But that would probably be pricey. Quite pricey. Don't you know? All right. To be fair, it also feels extremely marketing. It is run by dipshits, which it usually is. Yeah. I mean, marketing is basically just throwing money around and having somebody else make all the pretty stuff for you. Could 3D print the coins? True, but then you just end up with plastic coins. You know, a resin coin doesn't sound too bad. Would it be cooler if it was all clear, if it was something else? What if we made it a medallion? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. Not special if it's not metal. The thing is, I want it to last. I don't want it to be something cheap that could potentially break if it fell off a shelf, but I also want it to look good. So it's this weird middle ground of trying to figure out like what is a good middle ground. Mary creates her own currency, new stage of the Carnival Empire. I mean, it'd be like making veg coin, except I think Veggie and 5 3D print them. I'm pretty sure. That's what I was thinking, but if I did that, it would require... I could do that. I could make the eye with resin, probably. Oh, I could definitely do that. I'm just thinking. I could make 3D molds. I'd have to get back into Blender. I'm also still planning on doing the dice making. Although I wonder how expensive mailing dice is from Norway. There'll be a set of few off-prints, like real coins and stuff. Probably. I mean, it's the same thing with like when you make dice and stuff. If you do anything with resin, you're gonna have ones that like just didn't turn out right. Gears are turning, things are happening. Don't put mine in the blender. Steals mod sword? No. Whose mod sword did you steal? Wait, who did you take? Where did you get that? Did you just take it from another channel? Sir, say something. Say something. Do you still have your sword? From Norway, probably expensive. I mean, they'd come in small packages. I'm worried of Maren putting me in a blender. Dangles Envy over the blender. Takes mod sword back. No sword for Ganon. Like they did a mod in another channel, supposedly losing mod privileges. It'd be kind of funny. It would be funny. Be a temptation to unmod myself for a bit. I considered sneakily pulling the sword from you when I asked the question, but I didn't. I didn't want to do that. I would definitely buy a defunct Maren dice. The thing, there's dice companies that do that all the time. I actually do have a, hold on a second. Ugh. Let me get my dice bag. It's like right next to me. So here, this is from, I think it's from Kraken Dice. I've had these a while and it came with a card. So sometimes from Kraken Dice, I haven't done this in like over 2 years. I've not bought any new dice in over 2 years. And I like doing the, what do they call it? The like random dice or whenever they have special holiday deals. If you buy a certain amount of things, they'll send you a bunch of extra stuff. These are called Factory Rescues, and it comes with a card of Certificate of Rescue. This certifies that blank has officially been adopted by blank on this day blank, and they don't actually fill out the card, unfortunately. But on the other side, it says... Factory Rescues. The seas have been cluttered with many abandoned and unwanted dice. We've granted them temporary asylum in the lair until a worthy adventuring partner can be found. Prove yourself to be the kind, merciful master of these poor, rejected polyhedrals, and they will serve you for eternal and unwavering loyalty. You'll never roll lonely again. Each set of Factory Rescue dice contains 7 standard RPG dice that may suffer from small blemishes, subtle edge defects, and minor paint issues. And honestly, I don't know what the issues are with these because these are gorgeous. These are like it's like a strawberry and cream with gold numbers, and they're gorgeous. I don't really use them because I'm afraid that maybe they're like unintentionally weighted. Oh, wait, I think I see it. Hold on. I think I see it. I think the D8 has like a massive crack going down the middle. Oh, no, wait, that's just a strand of red that, oh, hold on. Nope, okay, never mind. That's just a strand of red that's like really vividly cutting through the white. Although, oh, I think it is this. Its corners are really janky. They kind of look like targets instead of like the slow, creamy blend that I think they were looking for. Hi, tired night shift nurse. How are you doing? Welcome in. Inspects dice the stream. Listen, if I got a thing up and running, I would definitely do dice making streams. Chat, you would definitely get dice making streams. It also wouldn't take very long to do like a bunch of the setups and stuff to show y'all how to do it. But pondering your D20? No, I was looking at a D8. The thing is it looks like they also kind of throw out the whole set if like one of them are really bad. Berries and cream, berries and cream. Oh my goodness. But yeah, if y'all are looking for a good dice company that does really cool dice, Kraken Dice. They're fantastic. Not actually a bad hand cam stream idea. Exactly. Exactly. Thing too is though, is I think to do it, I would need to get like a laptop. Now I was originally just going to get a laptop for like creative stuff. Hollow Dragon dice. Hollow Dragon. Ooh. Thing is too is though, at some point, if I get confident, we could make one of those like giant D20s that have an eye inside of them. If I could get, well, decent enough at like hand painting, I could probably make like my own eye and sell Dark Carnival eye dice. Almost at 2 hours already? Yapping stream? I was very confused by yapping. I don't like that word. I don't like that word. Yeah, no, we're gonna jump into routine. I was just having fun talking with y'all because like the first hour just basically went right past, and we're about 10 minutes from the next ad break. So we'll start the game afterwards. I have no idea how long this game is, and I'm a little afraid of it. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a little scared. I've seen some clips here and there, and it stresses me out. To do a ham cam? Is it just like a camera pointing at a ham? What's the deal? Hold on a second. Oh, goodness. But yeah, at some point, I want to start making dice. I mean, I do have a 3D printer. I have a resin printer. I have like a lot of the glitter, the alcohol coloring, and all that jazz that I would need to do most of the coloring. And I actually did pack up pretty much all of that. And it's like right behind me. The printer's on the floor behind me. Thing is though, is I don't think I can ship the resin bottles that I already have. Damn. We should get all the Marin merch. Y'all don't get the current Marin merch. Damn you for getting me the Curseborn. Did you get Curseborn? Also, if you have the PDF, can you send it to me? I can't afford the book, but I really want to read the stuff. And it's literally not available anywhere. Nobody's made a wiki. Nobody's posted the internet like online anywhere of like all of the stuff. You have to buy the book. You did send it to me? Did I miss it? Let me see. Did I miss it? Your name's the same, right? No, I mean, I got it. Okay. Send it to me. Send it to me. I need it. If we as a species could eat and digest anything, I'd want flavored edible dice to be a thing. I know people have made chocolate dice. I don't know if they're for sale. I would look into that. I'm sure you can buy chocolate dice. Edible chocolate dice, I mean. I could technically make those. I could make a food safe mold and then like put like a macadamia nut or something on the inside. Oh, but the hardest part would be shipping that. I'd have to ship it with like ice. Davey Netherlands, Davey for making import tax? Well, they're usually on things that are bigger than a certain size, right? Do you think Dice would call for an import tax? Me showing up in person to hand ordain his dice? Which one of you neckbeards ate my fucking dice? And me eating my D20 after I rolled a 1 so the GM can't see it. But that'd be cannibalism. That's frowned upon in polite society. I don't know about that. I feel like polite society at this point is the one who's most likely to commit cannibalism. Gets ruined so easily. That's exactly why I'm saying you'd probably have to ship it in like a cooler. Hey, speaking of merch, chat, if you want to win a pad, Axio's being awesome and started a giveaway, which I am totally not going to enter myself so I can get my own merch. Hand-delivered dice, that me getting on a train. All right, Ordain, you're going to come meet me in Rotterdam for TwitchCon EU. But yeah, chat, if you want to win a mouse pad, you can do !insert for the chance to win. It should, theoretically, unless you live in the Netherlands like Ordain did, all be paid for. Check my mailbox in case it rains. If you haven't checked it in like 2 days, you definitely need to go check your mailbox. You'd rather I used? If you want to post it, if you want to DM me in Discord, it should work. I'm pretty sure we share a Discord if you're in my Discord. Has someone seen my D20 me munching? Imagine being the GM married, rolls the dice, looks at the result, and locks eyes. You just... I can see it. It's so good. That's so good. Just... What did it say? Don't worry about it. I'll see if the PDF fits. PDFs usually fit in Discord. If they don't, then you could probably send me like a zip file. Did whatever you get, did it come with more than just the PDF? First taking me fishing, now TwitchCon? I'll buy you dinner too. PDF and character sheets? Puns one! Hell yeah, Puns. Just click that link there. It'll ask you for your, I believe it asks you for your Twitch login. And then you can fill in the information. Way to go, Puns. If you do, we're paying the Dutch way. What's the Dutch way?
Look at you.
What's the paying the Dutch way? Carmela, thank you for the follow. Welcome in. How are you doing? How long do we have until the ad break? Like, okay, it's a little more than 5 minutes. I pay for my food, you pay for your own? Okay, we can do that. That's fine. I was going to pay for both of us. Works for me. TwitchCon, the worst punishment, truly. That's the thing is, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to go to TwitchCon. I don't know how long it's going to take to move. And how much money I'm going to have. Dinner night with the Balbin? Yeah. I think I would, honestly though, I think I would almost rather try to start saving for TwitchCon USA. If at all possible. Do you even want to go to TwitchCon? So much shady stuff going down. True, but I also want to start fights. Did I say start fights? No, sorry, I meant finish fights. Can't even pay mod wages. I'm not even paying for that much. It was one dinner. How much could dinner cost? Oh, wait. Shit. Chat is connecting to chat. Come on, Twitch. Yes, you did, Puns. You won. Make sure you click the link. Don't want to lose it. Don't want to lose this chance now. Let's hit the Waffle House at 3 a.m. Yes. Talk about throwing yourself into a room of problems. True, but I want the experience. I want to go to TwitchCon. I want partner first. actually another thing we could do. If we hit partner, what we could do after that would essentially be a... Because I don't know if you get like all of the emote slots retroactively. I think you have to get a certain amount of subs to unlock like all of the Twitch partner like emote slots. So we may do like a subathon or something. That's the goal, to like maximize our emote slots. But as a whole, everyone's just weird. It's just weird. Oh, gotcha. Gotcha. Make a spam emotes? It's not about spamming emotes in chat. I'm pretty sure it's about hitting like a certain goal of like total subs you've had. And I think the highest we've ever had was like, I know it was less than 300. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure we've never cracked 300 subs at once. If you get them prior to getting partner, it counts. Vandy got a bunch of new ones. Okay, so it does count. Thing is, though, I also don't know how high the thing is. Like, I don't know what the maximum unlockable number of emote slots is. And I don't think it'll show me until we have partner. Gotcha? What do you mean, gotcha? Interesting. Thing is, though, they actually did change one of the things in the... Is it analytics? Yes, achievements. It actually tells you now how many you had in the last, like 2 months. Well, 60 days, 60 days. We're not doing so good, chats. We're not doing so good. We currently have a grand total. We need 12. We have a grand total of 2. We have 2. That's it. That's all we got. Time to start saving. I'm also still waiting for Sai to fucking apply for partners. Sai already meets all the requirements. Somebody go yell at her to fill out that partner application. She probably already has, not gonna lie. She probably already has. But... yeah, we're not 2, count them, 2. That's not even close. That's 2 in the last 30 days. The next 30 to like day 31 to 60 is 0. I'm started saving me the 1.1 million. Wait, are you talking about channel points? Someone got to redeem spam for that? Is that what you're gonna save it for? You get them prior to getting partner account. Okay, I did read that. Yeah. Oh no. Are you talking about the spam redeem? That just lets chat spam whatever they want for, what was it, solid minutes? Or is it 2 minutes? Oh, I need to get a timer overlay. I'm saving for the 10 million point redeem. Wait, what? I don't have a 10 million point redeem. Do you want me to make one? Do you want me to make one? Yeah, we don't have a 1 million point redeem because I don't know what to make it. I could do something that's just like in stream, but honestly, I don't know how like upset I would be when somebody actually redeems it. The answer is probably quite upset. In-stream redeems, ew. They're funny in like their own way, but at the same time, it would feel really bad. Gotta start channel point betting. Yeah, but Sunstar doesn't bet. Also, hi, Hollow. Thank you for the... Oh shit, we only just hit the 5-minute countdown until the ad break? Jesus. All right, we'll save the push-ups for the ad break. Oh my god, it's Timmy's butt. That is still such a goofy movement. Because I need to pick the results? True. True. If you bet on it, you can't confirm the results. Although I also don't usually bet on the gambas. On the gambas. Balls! Why bald? God, that fucking goober. Why are y'all posting butts? Hollow. Why are y'all spamming? Can streamers bet with their infinite points? You know what? I don't remember. Huh. That could be one interesting way to get people points. And me betting 1,000,000 points and then losing. That'd be one way to get more channel points out there if you were doing more fun stuff with channel points. The house always wins. Bullshit, I can't even gamba? What do you mean you can't even gamba? Wait, you can't do predictions if you're in the Netherlands? Just what to bet on? That's exactly it. I mean, like, you could bet on a lot of things. God fucking Christ. Talking about betting on a lot of things. Chat. Did you hear about... Oh God, what was it called? Covered? That's what it's called. It's called Covered. It is a app that you attach your credit card to, specifically your credit card. It's against the law? Good. You attach your credit card to it, and then when you make purchases, you get to spin a wheel that the company may give you your money, not the company, the like covered company. You're gambling on like a slots machine to see if Covered pays back that like certain amount. And like the chance is extremely minute, but it is fucking gambling literally on money you don't have. You spend money you don't have, spin a fucking slot machine, aka gambling, to see if you get the money that wasn't yours back. That's not to mention the number of things that companies are now trying to get people to gamble on, and I'm not joking on this. Like global conflicts and news companies trying to get in on gambling on the news. This world is a fucking hellhole. Gamble on the gambas? Yeah. They basically want to be able to gamble. Like there's even some sports betting companies that now allow you to bet, I'm not even joking, on play-by-plays. Where instead of betting on like an entire game with your friends or your homies or anything, they will now inundate you with notifications if you want to bet on each individual play that is made in a sport. Fuck those companies. Make gambling illegal. It's too predatory. I don't care. Oh, but some people get rich off of gambling. What's the percentage? What's the percentage and how many of them keep that money? Yes, they're that company over there. Yeah. You could ban gambling worldwide and nothing of value would be lost. Nothing of value would be lost. It also doesn't help that like these play-by-play companies and stuff are advertising, not even joking, advertising to people specifically between the ages of 18 and 21. And then talking about how much they are far more legal in more states than like DraftKings and stuff. It's insane. Flash to the Minecraft Bedrock Marketplace? Okay. How much is Vegas worth compared to what it was before? Fucking nothing. It's worthless. All right, so we're about to have the ad break, y'all. I'm going to get y'all words on stream. And then I'm going to run to the bathroom. Oh, I didn't need to open that part. Boop. And then we will get into routine. And I will see y'all in just a couple minutes. Boop-a-doo. That's Vegas, baby. Here to waste your fucking money. Okie dokie. What'd I miss? Let me also get my house shoes on because my feet are freezing. I am cold. More words? You got it, boss. Good, because I still need to change the categories and stuff. Boop. Boop. Routine. Yoinkity yoink. And then while that's going, I will go ahead and start. Oh, good Lord. Cannon, you fucking dork. All right. Put those away. Let's see if I'm going to get deafened by the audio of this game before I get it open. Because I think it is in... Oh, I can't move it right now. Okay, you better let me move this game. Oh, it is Unreal Engine. Which means my PC is about to burst into flames. Flashing imagery and lights during some scenes of the game. Options. Display. Okay. Now I can move it. We're going to turn that off. Okay. And let me adjust the game audio. Menace? Oh shit. Scatter? It did give me Kane when I typed it. Kane! Oh, did somebody else get Kane? No. Alright. You can't get me. I've done nothing wrong. You little bastard. You little bastard. Alright. Welcome back from the ad break, chat. Let's get right on into it. Welcome to the void. Where's my game? There it is. No more music. Chat, welcome to the moon. How are you feeling? God, I had to turn that way up to hear it. Jesus. They tried to silence me, but don't worry, I'm here, everyone. Hi, Thumper. Welcome in.
Making the mother of all omelets here, Jack. Can't spread over every egg.
Sorry, I had a mouthful of gamer subs. All right, chat. I do not know the plot of this game. I think we're on the moon. I know there's robots, and I know it's very retro. Oh, hey, there's multiple slots. Ooh. Oh, I forgot to do the push-ups. Shit. Can I pause? The menu's right next to me, but the thing's still rolling. We'll do the push-ups that the moon's coming in. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. All right. Doom. La moon. La moon. Whatever it's called, I was worried. Natural actions and patterns. There's something on the moon. Are you thinking of the Moon Woke Up series? We still need to watch that. Maybe we'll do that on Thursday. THQ. Or was it THX? It was THX, wasn't it?
We started this journey together,
Ooh.
chasing the unknown, seeking what we could not see. But now, we're lost.
What are those two things? Oh, good morning. the slippers? Why am I in a full suit? Okay, hold on a second. Let's change some. OS. You focus. Oh. Gib. Chapter 1, Birth. Union Plaza HQ Security 2, Isolation Room 03. Welcome, external software engineer. Union Plaza would like to thank you for accepting the contract to assess and debug our core ASN systems for potential software anomalies. Your key point of contact at Union Plaza will be Kai Koyama. Okay. Glad to have you with us and appreciate your role in helping Union. I got an achievement already. Helping Union Plaza thrive. Nope. Physical compliance activity. Activity 1. Let's test those knees. Crouch down as low as you can. Oh. That's what? Why is it a 3-button combo? It's space? Space is what I use to lean? Interesting. So if I'm down like this, and I hold space, then I can still lean, which is why S was getting down lower, and this would be peaking up. Okay. Test your toes, reach as high as you can. Okay, I did that on my own a second ago. Prove your R services. Please rate the following. Great. Washing facilities. Fine. I think that needs to be screwed back in. Is this the toilet? The shower? Ocean water solutions. This place is very scraped up, even like way up there. What the fuck? Hello? Sausage and egg pate. Sparkling water with a hint of lime. Protein special. Devil!
What's
what
your
the hell?
pleasure? What's your fear?
Holy shit, dude. Thank you for the subs. How are you doing? Call it Cthulhu. Oh my goodness. Elowen, holy shit. And Impy. Oh, and Thumper, who just got here. Congratulations. Welcome to having cutest and scariest emotes on Twitch. Enter your information in the terminal. Wait for your ID to be printed. Display the ID on your breastplate. ID printed below. Okay. Okay. In-room entertainment. Wait, it only goes down to fair? Fair. Print. Terminal throughout Union Plaza, you must have your ID. The ID must be displayed in your breastplate. Continue. Completing the release form. You may now print your ID. Are you going to spit it on the floor? Oh. Oh. Wait. Wait, no. Thank you. Okay, I guess 7544. Anything else I could nose around about? Can I leave? Due to current health and safety protocols, wearing a pressure suit and helmet, displaying your ID and your breastplate is mandatory at all times. We apologize for the inconvenience to Union Plaza. That was a mistake. Okay. That's fine. That did. That is so dark. This brightness did not help. It did not help at all. That still feels too high. Is it not actually changing anything anymore? Huh. Okay. Hello? Why does it not feel... Feels washed out now. Like, do I need to turn ambient occlusion back on? It all looks foggy now to me, as opposed to what it looks like. What it looks like on stream. Hello?
Vast, alluring,
That's an old speaker.
welcome to Union Plaza, your gateway to the lunar frontier. Please take a moment to appreciate the breathtaking panorama of the moon's surface stretching out before you, a sight that has captivated humanity for generations. Now that you've successfully concluded your isolation,
Where the fuck is everybody else?
to the meeting room, A1, for an informative induction session on the Cosmonaut Assistance Tool.
Okay. Russian, German, English, Japanese. Oh, I can't tell what that one is. Oh, and that's more Russian. Okay. Is it here? Exit? I guess the exit. Keypad. Locked. 7544. Aw, man. Is it this way then? Okay. Same said Stanley Kubrick directed. I'm kind of scared of this game, chat. I'm not gonna lie. Glove dispenser, hand sanitizer. Is it... And we had quarantine? Is there like a disease on the planet? Is this where we need to go? Cat orientation. Black light something module slots. Hardware activity maintenance mode module slots. Cat controls PDA, DGOS, power battering. Cosmonaut assistance tool. Maintenance mod can be used 3 times on a full battering. Use DGOS, magnetic interference. View PDA of wireless access points. Okay. This is a different one. Maintenance mode. I see. Oh, is this the test? Default cat mod, maintenance module. Can buy extra module at the mall at O'Neill's Electronics. Kei Koyama is head of security. So that's good to know. Okay. It's kind of funny that it comes in a box that basically looks like a Gundam box. Careful not to aim at robots. Is this used? Ask. DGOS to fix any magnetic distortions. Power. You can see power left and battery when in the cat. Can disable type O5s. Huh. Console Kei Koyama, apartment 04B in the living quarters. Oh no. Oh no. Oh, I hate that. Hello? Oh, I'm not liking this. I'm terrified. Cat orientation. Welcome to Cat Orientation and PDA Overview. Here you'll learn the basics of how to operate your Cosmonaut Assistance tool and make the most of your PDA Personal Data Assistant. Please read the following pages carefully. Your cat is powered... Wait, how far can I stand back to read this? Pretty far. Cat is powered by lithium-ion batteries. You will need to keep the cat powered to use all of its functions. FPS? Listen, if this is not an FPS. This feels like point and click. What is this? What is the freedom of like, what is the dead space here? This is going to terrify me later. I know it is. I'm going to panic. I'm going to panic. Reminds me of aliens, I suppose. Remaining battery power is displayed on battery, visible while inspecting cat when a battery is inserted. You haven't done so, locate a battery and insert it. I don't think we saw a battery, did we? Yo? I don't think we found a battery yet. Is there a flashlight? Nope. Great. I hate that. Doesn't look like I can open any of these drawers. Also not a battery. Oh. Is that, wait, am I turning it on and off? What? I have to interact with the gun? Oh, are these mode changes? I think that's what these are. But what is this? Hold on. Trying to see if there's anything that marks the slider or the thing on top. Blacklight something? Hmm. Ultra view mod. Okay. Oh well. Concludes cat orientation 01. Hope you take a productive stay with us. Okay. Okay, maybe we'll just find a battery in another room. Boops and babs and rest of things. Can we bring that back? I wish. I wish. This game is giving me anxiety already, dude. We haven't even gotten to scary shit. Oh.
Well, look at you.
Oh my god, the frame rates. I'm guessing that's intentional. Is that turning on the thing? Had to interact with playing a short horror in one Dreadx collection where you had a breech loader from the 1800s. You had to open it, remove the spent round, put in a new one, then close it. Ugh! Also, why can't I pick that up? Can I not pick up extra batteries? Preserving moments, dreams, and life. Is this just a poster? Huh. What are you? More batteries! Battery recycle point. When inspecting the cat, check the power display on the side of the battery. Oh, maybe this one's... Oh, okay. I think this one's dead. I think that's why. I'm gonna live under the assumption that that's why. Okay. God, I'm having flashbacks to playing Alien, dude. Shut up. Oh, here, let's go. Let's go. Maybe there's like another thing that'll come up in here. Oh. Click the save data icon to store progress. What was that sound? I don't like that sound. Task. Elevator key code in progress. Oh. Thank you for filling software engineer assistance requests. It's a relief to have another set of eyes on this. The ASN is behaving as if it's in lockdown mode for no reason I've been able to identify. Due to the current security protocol, I've had to reset the arrival's elevator access permissions. Check the database section in your PDA for new key codes. Okay, hold on. So media we collect, hardware, software, diagnostic tool installed, wireless access revision. Power button turns the cat on and off. Wireless access point, press the wireless access button to connect. This feature are accessing the... Okay. So I guess we'll come to other screens or something that we can use this on. Press the degas button to restore correct color and screen geometry by neutralizing magnetic interference affecting the display. Oh. Respectable refresh rate, however, is not equipped with backlighting or enhanced visibility features. Function of the maintenance module can overload and activate electrical equipment that is otherwise out of reach, useful as a temporary solution for unresponsive and malfunctioning hardware. Do not use on the Type O5's cord located in its chest. Are you sure? Active function requires 1/3 of total battery capacity. Okay. Database. Elevator pin 8216. Okay. Warner Brothers buyout. Trump didn't buy them. Also, relation with David Ellison, head of Skydance Paramount. Oh, good lord. I already forgot. Was it 8216? Oh, I put 9. Why did I do that? I know that's not right. Wait. Why did I put 9 again? It's because I didn't delete it, I'm guessing. I thought I heard rumbling behind it. Was that not it? Did I forget? Did I mess it up? Good lord, the footstep sounds. Chat, I don't think I'm gonna be able to play this game. I'm getting nervous just from the fucking setting. And the shit that I've already seen. Oh, right. I was right. It was 8216. That's the sound of me leaving the range so that it disconnects. It's actually kind of cool that this is made by like 3 people. Okay, there we go. I was just dumb. I had to open it. Wow, how very cyberpunk. To have just TVs on both sides. I guess we're going there. Oh, fade to black. To at least for scare and all. Gets horrored in return. I think it's just the fact that, like, I'm used to having an intro to a horror game that's, like, fairly normal. But, like, the fact that where's that water coming from? It ain't coming out of there. Is it coming out of the drain? Okay, there's too many sounds. I don't like this. Automated security network. No entry. Okay. Can I check? UK, ISS, USA, Russia. The international. How big is the International Space Station in this game? Sweden. USA and the UK. Every flight is canceled. These the same? Yeah, they're all the same. Tram station. Which that area looks familiar. Well, this does not actually seem inviting enough to go this way. Do you think it's poor space weather, Newt? You really think it's poor space weather? How long have I been in isolation? Okay.
We need to shut down the ASN. Everyone's scattered or in hiding. And the only two people with security access to the ASN are me and Kay.
Okay.
If I don't make Kay's your only shot.
Okay, he was...
Find her.
Oh, for being?
Shut it down.
Should I try to go back to the apartments? I don't feel like I should mess with this. Meteor showers, they really hit hard. Yeah. Again, I swear I keep hearing other sounds. Arrivals? I don't think that's where we were, was it? Here, we'll go check. We'll go check. There's a her we have to fight? Or find? Okay. So what was it? On the paper it was said that her apartment was for... Oh, okay. It probably doesn't count because these aren't the apartments. These are just like... Never mind. I don't want to go there. I don't want to go that direction. Fuck. The recording said fight, right? I thought it said find. Should K was their only option. Okay. It's a particularly sunny week. There's no weather on the moon. Don't you like space? I like space. I like space if there's people there. More battery recycling. There's a note here. To anyone reading this, it's Cooper. I forced the shutters down. I had to. Use the cat's maintenance module to override the fuse box. Just point and pull the trigger. Fuse box. Is it you? You're probably... Oh, that's probably the fuse box. Okay, hold on. I want to try to interact with this first. Okay. Okay. I don't scan that. Oh, that's right. It wants K's. Or we have to get the code for it. Oh, well. Certain of solar activity will cook you in ways that make Chernobyl look nice. Are there at least going to be safe rooms in this game? Please tell me there's going to be safe rooms. What are these? And why are the stickers backwards? Make sure I'm on the right side. Was on the downside. Hi, Seal Fresh. Why does it say you have 4 flavors, but there's only 2 here? Shut up! God God damn it! Is this? Okay. A door terrifying? It hissed at me, okay? I'm nervous. Copyright 96 to 97? Wonder what exactly the current year is. Fuck was that sound? Okay. Shut up! You said about a door. I see the newspaper articles now. What do you mean? Is this just gonna be another way how we get around? Living quarters, mall. Ugh. We'll do what we know our current objective is. Okay. Why is the voice so terrifying? Priority seating. Where's the seat? Okay. Mystery access, elevator key, did that. Okay, those are both the same. I'm just gonna assume that we're gonna go to the apartment that we saw in the paper. What mall? Stop making those noises! Hello? Muscle atrophy, the facts. Because we're in space. Hi, little BMO. Hey, buddy. How you doing? Jesus. You're saying something to me, but I can't hear you. You okay, buddy? Do you want to talk about it? He's so cute. Again, every single one of these battery recycling things is fucking full. I do wonder if this counts as, hold on. No, okay, that seems to be only for our screen. Okay. Faulty terminal. Use cat diagnostics if you can't open the door. Diagnostics. We don't have the diagnostics, do we? Is that why we have to go to the mall? Is this a false choice? I hope you'll enjoy routine. I'm terrified. And we haven't even seen a robot yet. This atmosphere is too good. It's too good. It's already made me terrified. Anxious, if you will. There's all these fucking noises. Use the 2 buttons on it? You could say, but... Oh, it didn't give me the media for the presentation. Yeah, we don't have the diagnostics, I don't think. Right? I'm pretty sure we gotta go. We're gonna save again. There are too many goddamn noises. Shut your bitch ass up, Jacob. So help me God, I will turn your nuts inside out. Probably comes in case you have... Oh my God, shut up. That's gross. Okay. Okay. We'll be fine. I'd be more concerned if you're all right with getting your nuts turned inside out. Welcome to the mall station. Could you not have found somebody that, like, actually had a happy day in their life? What is up with all the fucking hissing this tram does? Dude! I also have a sneaking suspicion that, at some point we're gonna run into the robots, and then the robots are gonna be everywhere. VHSs. Wait, are you backwards? Why are y'all backwards? Thing two is either is I don't want to sprint because I'm afraid of something happening. Or running face first into something that I'm not supposed to. World's slowest.
Come on, and step into the
Hi.
macabre halls of the Dark Carnival. And please, enjoy.
Mom,
the show.
how was your stream? Did you have a good time? What trouble did you get into? How was Oh no, Revelations. Oh no, also the game doesn't actually pause. Is this the check-in terminal? Hi, Mom. How was your stream? Did y'all have a good time? Welcome in, Raiders. I'm guessing this is 7544. Reason for today is do business. If you're here for the CAT module security meeting, please make your way to conference room M01 in the mall. Unable to call elevator. Uh-oh. Wait, where'd you go, buddy? What are you? Push for assistance. Meet the potential risk that the cat ultra view module causes to security in Union Plaza. Discuss the already identified issue of viewing fingerprints on terminal screens. Oh. What? Resort guests have submitted complaints of kids pointing the cat at them and laughing, and a general noise complaint of the moon lobby right outside of O'Neill's Electronics. General discussion of pros and cons of the cat ultraview module. Get an ultraview module from O'Neill's Electronics to test the capabilities of viewing terminals in different scenarios. Okay. Well, let me take that one. Do I have an inventory? Or do I just... Oh, it just auto replaces, I guess? A 10. I see. I love you. He says, yo. Oh. He played routine. I came with the raid. Hi, welcome in, Adachi. I'm sorry. This game is fucking getting to me, and we haven't even seen the monsters yet. There's more batteries. Yes, there is, little budding. Also, how do you see? Okay, budding. I love him. Oh, we can get lower. We can... all the way to the ground. He has a flashlight. Oh, what a flashlight. Added to the I love him count. He's adorable. What's not to love about him? He's a big Bevo.
Well, look at you.
He's so friendly. You better not die. Please? Other fucking noises. Don't say I have the body of a pig. Don't say I have the body of a pig. Shut up. Is this whole game just going to be me constantly trying to get to Kay and get his information so I can turn off the security system? Why did you scream? Why did you... I don't want to go down there. It's too dark. We're gonna fade to black. How long is this ladder to get a fade to black? Not that long. Although I think it does just cut off right there. Oh, well then, guys. Okay, well, at least there seems to be semi-frequent save points for now. Okay. Oh. Oh, that one's dead. Oh, I think I know what I need to do with you. Current health and safety protocols. Okay, this is the thing about the pressure suit. Reminder, when you when your cat screen distorts or warps, use the DGOS feature on your cat. Okay. Is it doing that now? Oh yeah, it definitely is. Oh, neat. All right, hold on. We're going to go check this real quick. I'm just going to say, that looks relevant. Zap. Hello? Oh, hey, it's Modern Malls. Anyway. Okay, that was just another recycling thing. Damn it. Wait, can I actually find one in there that's like... Nah, it doesn't seem like it. It seems like these are just set dressings. Okay, I guess we're sneaking through. But... Oh, I can see the cat. Goodness. This looks familiar to one of the clips that I've seen of this game. Also, hold on. I do kind of... Where is it? The... Control... Accessibility, probably? Nope. I don't think I could change the... No, I cannot. You know, that doesn't sound like a broken light. That sounds more like somebody's fingers, like, repeatedly tapping. Even look, Jacob. A lot of batteries here. I guess it just always replaces the one up to full charge that I have. And the fact there's 3 of them here does not bode well. Fuck me. I make a lot more noise whenever I'm crouching. I don't like that. Oh, it's the security system. Fuck no, dude. I don't want to be here. I don't want to be here. I can barely see anything. Ain't no fucking way. I don't want to play this game already. I don't want to play this game. Hello? What is this? Exit? Okay, that's kind of funny. Okay, there's Galaxy Video. Oh, there's a save right here. Okay, we'll do the save first. I don't like this. It's too good. The fucking ambiance is too good. And then, like... Also, those guys move a lot faster than I thought they did. I did not want to go that way either with that one dude. What is this? Why are all of the things reversed? Are my eyes backwards? What the fuck is happening? Okay, that one's fine. These are fine. Why are these backwards? Oh, that's more duo. Exit shutters. So the mall elevator keeps shorting. Give it a restart here, then open it via the security office at the back of Megazone. Okay. Keeps forgetting how to leave. Can I zap him? Oh, okay, that's only a slight stun. You know, I probably should just try to lose him in a hallway or something. Oh, he actually did lose me for a second there. I think that's what that was. See, that's him losing me. Why would they make their security bots look like that? That thing is fucking terrifying, dude. Okay, well, I don't have the passcode for that. Chat, I'm not gonna lie, I really want to Alt F4. Security meeting at, oh here, 15:30 LTC has been moved to John's office inside Megazone. Okay, and that's broken. Oh shit, we have the ad break and we can't even, this game doesn't even actually pause. Okay, hold on. We'll do it like this, but I'm gonna have to keep an eye on the game. I'm not even gonna turn on music because I want to hear if that guy's footsteps are coming. You can make it through? I'm not gonna make it through. I'm not, and I feel so fucking bad because I was given this key. I don't know why, but this game is being my GBs, and I don't like it. You can make it through. Sounds like a good time. Hold your hand. There's no one. No one has talked to me. Everyone is seemingly gone. There's no evidence what happened to everyone else. And like, I have no context for anything. Why are we on the moon? What are some of these interfaces? Why is the security system seemingly chasing me like this? That hasn't even been explained. It's just happening. Can you imagine being this dude who's like, yeah, I'm going to be an engineer on the moon? I have to do quarantine for a couple days to make sure I'm not sick with something, and I don't want to get everybody else sick in a like vacuum space. And then you wake up and everybody's fucking gone. You want a water? I do have some water right here. Chat, you got to get one more word. Come on. There you go, guys. Did somebody do plume already? Nobody's done plume? Oh, wait, no, use fake. My bad. My bad. Okay, so now we do have to go to Megazone. Fuck. The main AI, that's the first doc. Wait, what? Oh, the ASN? Oh, I thought it was to test the ASN. Why didn't they let this game actually have a pause option? I'm gonna fucking cry, dude. I'm gonna fucking cry. Oh my god, I hate it. Hand over the uppies or Dane's windmill gets it? That's the extra eyes are for? Carbonated natural. It's the thing too with these robots just dunk, 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 is terrifying. Hi, buddy. Oh, there's one standing right there. Electronics? Oh my god. Hey Todd, I know you've been working late recently. If you want to open these shutters, just use John's terminal in the office behind Megazone. Ordain doesn't have windmills, he has giants and he'll fight them? Oh my god. Hi, Don Quixote. How are you doing? You saw me? Hey, big man. I can't see fucking shit.
Let's step into the macabre halls of the Dark Carnival. And please, enjoy the show.
Oh my god, hi, Sheppy. Welcome in. I fucking hate this game. Edit your? gun show. Wait, we can play gun show? Also, is there a save in here? Minotaur. Mad Hog. I don't think I want to play gun show. Oh, fine. We'll take a look at it. It seems like there's nothing in here. Those are very pink nipples. Jesus. Nice stash, bro. Ooh. Okay. Oh shit. Whew.
Fine. Fail.
Damn it. I'm fine with that. Let me out. Okay. Can this be the rest of the stream? It is a little bit calming than like everything else happening in this fucking moon base. Hello? Oh, Jesus. Nope, hold on. You see, that can't be right. Nope, apparently that is actually what that's supposed to look like. This place seems so nice, though. It'd be nice if there was people here. It's another Beano. Hi, little buddy. How you doing? You can talk to me? You're the nicest thing here in this fucking hellscape. Can I put you in a pocket or something? Can I carry you around in like a baby Bjorn? Discuss potential risk the cat ultra view module causes for security in Union Plaza. Discuss the already identified issues of viewing fingerprints on terminal screens. Okay, this is the same thing. This is the same thing we read at the front. Ultra view module. Pros. Popular module. Sells well at O'Neill's. Best performing store last quarter. Torch. Torch? Is that where the flashlight comes from? Potential security risk. Fingerprints. Extra cost per deep clean. Surface stains. Surface stains. Flowers. Flowers. And we haven't even made it to O'Neill's yet. Email. Outer perimeter check from Kei Koyama. Pretty big quake. Did you get the perimeter check alert? It's from John Cooper to Kei. AK, agreed. I'll finish the CCTV maintenance, then I'll get right on it. Okay. Still up for drinks later. Your choice on which vending machine this time. Oh, no. Oh, geez. That's a bunch of emails. You bet, however, I need to head out into a perimeter check because that last quake. I'll stop by reception when I am done. Everything okay, Coop? You seemed pretty out of it during drinks yesterday. Thanks. I'm doing all right. I didn't realize I was so late meeting you last night. Got a little tired. I think I'm just coming down with something. Might need to sleep it off. Lockdown issue. To Union Plaza crew. As you may notice, the ASN has erroneously initiated lockdown protocols. Thinks this recent lunar quake might have triggered some of the automatic response. Some doors are still working like usual, but others need temporary key codes that'll circumvent the security status. I'll give them to you as needed. All Type 05 units seem to be powered down at this moment. If you require assistance for any of your tasks, please make alternate arrangements for the time being. System reset isn't possible due to life support requirements, so I'm working on the things piecemeal. I'll keep you all posted. Haley, since I got back from the perimeter checks, I've been having some nasty headaches and blurry vision. Do you have any advice? Sorry to hear that. How long were you out there in the perimeter check? For now, try limiting your screen time when you can. Use aspirin as needed for your headaches and eye drops to see if it helps the blurriness. I'm not sure how long I was out there, Lee. Memory is kind of shot. Can't sleep well. Woke up twice outside my room. Feels like I'm in a fog. Vision's still funny. I feel like I'm seeing things. Your symptoms are worrisome, Coop. You need to stay in your room and rest. I'll come by later and check on you. From Cooper to Todd. I'm not doing too well at the minute. Can you cover my shift today? Of course, dude. You managed to get any sleep yet? And then he didn't get an answer. Of course. Is that a torso? Okay, so the playground's at least open. We probably gotta get back to that video store.
Well, look
I guess.
at you.
Oh,
I shouldn't be recording this. When I returned from the perimeter check, a Type 5 escorted me directly.
well-crafted version of the liminal space games. This is not a liminal space game.
Definitely not protocol. They'll bury it. I know they will.
Coupe, you're from Dispatch? I kind of would rather play Dispatch right now. Chat, do we want to go back to Dispatch? We'll actually romance someone this time. I promise.
Okay.
Sprouting?
Make a copy. Don't let them hide it.
Wait, who's they? Okay. Are these nitrogen? Oxygen? Butane? I have a sneaking suspicion you shouldn't store all these next to each other. See, that one's the right way. Hold fast? God damn it, Dreaded. You're not supposed to tell them my plan. Was it this high up before?
Step inside, step inside.
Shut up! Cyberwolf, thank you for the follow! This is the one we came out of. That's just a different shop. I'm pretty sure. I'm pretty sure, you guys. Okay, this was where we came in. He lost me. Hi, his battery. I can't take it. Where is he going? Okay, he's going this way. Okay. But how do we... Okay, we definitely need to go find the... What's it called? We need the ultra view, I'm guessing. That I'm fairly confident about. Oh, wait, at least we can do this. Okay. To a gun show? It doesn't do anything. There it is. Electronics? Okay, this will be fine. We go to the playground. Ooh. Shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up. Okay. No signal. Okay, that didn't do anything. Okay. Moon rock. Okay. Oh yeah, it's the security system. There are probably, the thing is, I've heard in the comments of some clips that I've seen that these guys are easy mode. Okay, there's O'Neill's. These guys are easy mode. You run faster than them. They're kind of deaf. And apparently, there's more later. Ultraview demo area. Enable the ultraview module. Then press and hold the trigger to see the message below. Do we just... Oh, it's just automatically in there because we said so. Wait. Also, did y'all notice it's an AVI cable? There's also an audio port right there. No modules selected. Okay, no, that's what automatically... Is that it? Or do I just need to leave it out? Okay, that's what I need to do. Oh, the face. But... can't see the words. So let me see here. I don't see anything. Okay, okay. Oh, what is that in the corner? I quite literally can't see anything. I know. Is this how it's supposed to look? I tried resetting it. I need to be closer. Hello? Hello? I mean, this is the way that's supposed to be an example, unless it's that face. Oh, I'm stupid. I have to hold the fucking trigger. Congratulations, 10% off. Okay, so we probably have to do the same thing on like screens and stuff. Final price cut. Okay. Which means now... Oh! Hell yeah. Okay! Give me that. What do we got? That's the lockdown message to everyone. Movie night! Oh, it's Jackie! The one that IC was looking for. You sicken me. Okay. Written a classic from Galaxy Video for tonight. The Hatching. I'm bringing the drinks. Who's got the snacks? I'll bring snacks. I don't know if John's going to make it, but I'll see the rest of you there. Operational type O5 unit. I saw on the CCTV feed that one of the T5s here in the mall is functioning again. All the other units are still powered down, though. I think you're right. Only one seems to be able to function at a time. Oh. Huh. That's why the other two didn't react to me. Hope all's well. I've had some nagging headaches for the past week. Might be coming down with what John has. Have anything stronger than aspirin? Was last time you had contact with John? I'd like to run some tests. I'll come by soon. It's the headaches. Not some due to disconnect comms. Try again later. Ted Lanzer, Mall Grounds Coordinator to Union Plaza All. Something is wrong. Type O5 unit out of control. Unable to trigger alarms or access voice comms. Stay inside your rooms. Ooh. Closed door. Don't know which door that is, so I don't think we're going to open it. And then can I use this? Oh. So 5. I'm going to guess it's basically diminishing more than likely. 5, 6, 1, 3. Okay, well, that works. Also, does that use a battery? No, it doesn't. Awesome. Okay. Do another save just because. If you should caramel dancing around Marin. Oh my god! No! But I'm guessing if I close the door, it just closes this, and I don't think there's much reason to do that. Oh. Unless the door closes on me. Never mind. Oh. Okay. Welcome back to hell. Also, why are all these wires just dangling around? Let's say this is the way we came in, right? We crouched under this. You didn't pay for the module. Criminal scum. What time is it? It's 3:30. Hey, Jack, can we call it? Can I go back to the save room and call it? I don't want to keep playing. Oh, what the hell was that? I only saw it out of the corner of my eye. Did we spaghettify for a second? A fish? Don't you fish me. Right, that's the direction. So we came in, we went... Okay, yeah. Need creepy wires everywhere? I guess, man, but it feels like it's cleaner in other places, and this is, like, definitely supposed to be... Okay, no, wait, I see. These are all the covers. They've all been, like, knocked down, and then just all the wires are spastically thrown everywhere. Gotta play it a whole nother day, maybe? Oh, maybe? I don't think I was even this scared when we played, what is it, Visage? Hey, buddy. Not like seeing you terrified? Fuck you, I'm going, we're leaving. I'm gonna go home. I'm scared. I don't think my anxiety can handle this in the beginning of the week. They did a really good job. This was worth the wait. Jesus. Oh my god. I want to quit. I want to quit. I'm sweaty. Oh my god. Okay. We'll do more another day. This is gonna be another one of those games that I'm gonna have to take like a really long ass time to play. Oh god, am I? Oh, I did not mean to click that. We need to go back. Okay. Okay. Please, thank you. I need a fucking adult. Small doses? Yeah. This is the most genuine horror I've seen all year. I think I'm just being a fucking chicken. I genuinely do. Granted, I've seen other people get fucking terrified in clips that I've seen, but most of them were in that point where like we were when we came out of the like little tunnel. When we came out of that tunnel, that was the scene that I've seen so many people like in theirs, they got off easy. He came into the room. Every other video I've seen of people is he stands there, he scans the room. He can't scan you because you're behind the desk, and then he leaves. That motherfucker was coming for me. Couldn't handle Shipwreck 64. I do still have that game. We'll probably play that game someday. Baron chicken running around to win? Huh? Oh, you mean like the chicken emote where it's just like somebody is just like running around over and over? When we have the money and space for additional emotes. I knew that emote looked familiar. That's Abby, but that body's too thin to be Abby. The tits are just right. Body's too thin. Motherfucker was coming for me. He wanted my fucking shit, dude. I don't want to find out what happens if they grab me. Those guys are too big and too heavy and too terrifying. Whoever designed those fucking robots is a menace. Total chaos, routine, hollow body, post-trauma, karma, labyrinth of the demon king. So many good indie horrors lately. I agree. What was one of the ones that we played recently, chat? We've been playing One Way. We do need to get back to One Way, and we will. We are going to finish One Way. Because I do remember the last time we played it, we were back on, what's his name? Spiderface. Oh, I need an adult. I need an adult. All right. 3 Bear stories, something, but the tits were just right. Oh my god. I mean, maybe. Maybe. I don't know for sure. It's possible. But I think that's where we're going to call it today, chat. The thing is, though, what do you want to watch today? What shenanigans do you want to get into? More games, more art. Apollo's playing Life is Strange. That's not a bad game. But observation duty with Onirin. Okay. Mackenzie is a little bunny. That's cute. That's cute. Whose emote is that? Huh. Lurker check. Wait, does somebody redeem lurk check? Nope, nobody did. We could do a lurk check. Be awesome, stay awesome, eat cheesecake or suitable. Ooh. I think the thing is, though, is I actually found out. So I told you about the food hall that I go to on occasion, right, chat? There's a ramen place there. And recently, when I went there, they had a poster. They had a poster. Would you press the one if bigger? Oh, no. They had a poster there that they now have gyudon on the menu. While it's not like crazy affordable like Japanese gyudon usually is, it's actually cheaper than the one Japanese place in town that typically sells gyudon. It's $16 there. It's $13 at this ramen place. And I'm kind of tempted to go get it today because I just got the throne payouts. That was the buying me lunch. We're talking about boobs looking. Wait, what? What? Huh? But let me see. Oh, nobody's really jumping out at me. I think we're gonna go with Apollo for a little bit of slice of life game with a little bit of supernatural thrown on top. Yeah, I think we'll go with that. I think we'll go with that for now. Actually, hold on. What is Fairbanks doing? Fairbanks is drawing. I think that's their D&D characters. Of the actual Go Bigger emote we have. Listen, that I could get that. It would be kind of funny. I would just make it like no boobs. Okay, no boobs. Only eyes. No boobs. All right, chat. We're gonna read Apollo. What scared emotes do we have? Do I have any scared emotes? I don't know. Eyes for boobs? No. I don't think I have. Do we do the wah? We could do the wah emotes. Oh, I have an idea. We'll use the bruh emotes and we'll do robots shitted my pants. Robots shitted my pants. Or we can use the dead emote. If you would prefer, oh, that's not my dead emote. If you prefer the dead emote, we can do that. Robots shitted. I put by pants too. My pants. All right, chat. I will see you tomorrow. We're jumping back into Cyberpunk. If you have not seen Cyberpunk, I am a massive fucking nerd. So if you have any questions, I will always be willing to answer them. I love talking lore for Cyberpunk. A robot shit your pants? Yes. Robot shitted my pants. All right, guys. I will see you tomorrow at noon CDT. Until then, thank you for being here. Thank you for being awesome. I'm sorry my heart wants to leap out of my chest. Also, you're going to get girls swimming in their underwear for some reason. Lesbians. And they were gay. Anyway, have fun, kids.